Hey, what's up, everybody? So we're gonna talk about the cosmic love theory, in the sense of the cosmos really holds the secrets to our chemistry, the greatness that we can create with one another, no matter the dynamic of the relationship, business, friends, and intimate lovers and whatnot. And so if we can just understand the four element, just the very basis of it, your fire and your air tend to be what we call more of the yang element. These are energies that love to move, and they're very creative and outgoing. And when you look at the nature of fire, it needs air. So your fire signs and your air signs, they tend to really blend well and whatnot. Your earth and your water signs tend to blend really well. So if you look where I'm at, it's water, but then you see green earth and vegetation. You see rocks, which is an element of earth. So you see those two together and whatnot. You don't really see fire and water mixing like that. You don't really see air and water really mixing to a degree like that as well. And so, nature has its ways of bonding with certain things. And inside of the human body, we really have to understand that we are composed of all of these things, the fire, the air, the earth, and water, and many more elements as well, that really we should be able to bond with anyone. It just depends on what elemental state are you in, right? Now, for example, and this is what I mean by inner alchemy and learning how to really maneuver. If you look at the Magician Tarot card, for example, okay? The Magician Tarot card, he lays out the four elements, because the coins represent earth and money. The sword, that's air. The wands is the staff of fire, right? And then the cups represent holding the water, which represents emotion, connectivity, sensitivity, really psychic powers as well. But water is very intimate, okay? This is love right here, okay? So it's matters of the heart. So the magician lays out all of these elements on the table upon him, and he's one of the highest ranking cards, higher than the emperor, higher than the high priestess. He's up there, okay? It's only one other card that really outranks that card when you understand that system, and that's the Fool. And sometimes that card is irreplaceable with the Star card. All right, the Fool is just simply emptying yourself and putting yourself on a journey within nature. That's what the Fool did, right? When you look at the Fool card, he said, I'm going within nature to get in tune within myself, and I'm gonna be loyal about it, hence the little doggy that's with him, okay? And so the Magician is the only card, that's up, the Fool is the only card that supersedes the Magician, who has a mastery of the four elements, okay? And so I'm predominantly very young, I'm very yang. And how that shows up cosmically for me is I have 7 planets in either fire or air signs combination, okay? And I only have 1 planet in water and 1 planet in earth, right? That's it. Everything else, 8 planets, like, man, I don't have, like, that's it. I'm heavy yang, okay? Which translates to fire is creativity. Okay, I can get creative and do some things. I'm an entrepreneur. Okay, it takes creativity to do that. Air represents communication. I'm not necessarily afraid to cut on the camera and start having conversations and talking and helping people, right? So that's how that energy manifests itself. And so when I first started studying this, I had to go back and look at my previous girlfriends. What kind of women was I attracting? And there was a pattern, and it was fire women. But I'm that guy who was born with Venus in Aries. And so Venus represents a woman, beauty, marriage partner. It's the male psychology of what he's looking for in a woman when you understand Venus. where Venus was at when a man was born. And so, and I said, wow, that's very interesting. And so you had to do the work on self. Once you find this information out, you got to kind of go back in your life and backtrack a bit and start putting the pieces of the puzzle together to understand yourself, right? And so fire and air was always been my dominant. I never really attracted earth and water women. It wasn't until I started tuning into what I call the yin energy, the feminine energy, getting into nature and getting into plants and being meditative and really tapping into, because one nature I've always had was I'm really a loving person in a sense. I get that a lot. People feel that from me. I'm shy, but I'm very warm and loving. Some would say, especially with women. That's what some say, okay? You know, my childhood friends used to always call me Mr. Lover type of guy, in a sense, right? But, you know, it's interesting, you know, how we get made fun of certain things. That's a higher principle in our culture. But I thought love was supposed to be this great thing. But anyway, and so when I start working with this yin energy, right, then my energy started to transform. And then what I started to attract and my life started to transform as well. And the water and earth energies are way more patient, way more to a degree. Earth is more stable in a sense, right? More practical. Airy nature, fiery nature can be fast and up there, while earth and water, as you can see, is down here and whatnot. So it's a little bit more of a slow progression. Take your time and nurture versus boom, 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 boom. Let's go. Let's get it. Let's make, you know what I'm saying? And so there's a fine balance within this, beautiful alchemy that's within this. And so since we can easily shift into working into our deficiencies, this is the key, working in our deficiencies, okay, then we can start to strengthen that. And so usually, again, when the person is water deficient, these people are insensitive. They really don't have a sense of intuition may be low, sensitivity to how they relate. They may not be intimate, and I'm not saying sex, I'm talking about being in tune, being caring, nurturing. These people probably, they don't like hugs when they water deficient. You see what I'm saying? Hugs and touch and that quality time of holding hands or taking a bath with each other, that's foreign to them because they lack a water energy when they were born. And you can tell this. This is the beautiful thing about this science, right? And so when it's fire deficient, these people may not have no enthusiasm, no confidence, just no spark, almost lazy in a sense, right? So you can see that shows up that way. Air deficient, they don't talk much. They you know, they're more, could definitely be more of an introvert because they don't have a lot of airy energy, which is communication. And these may not necessarily be people who have ideas that's going to push them forth out into the world as entrepreneurs or artists in a sense, because their energy is not necessarily in the air element. And so I believe I went through all of them. When it's earth deficient, it shows up financially for sure. It can show up financially. It can show up in your ability to be very practical, or you can be a very unstable person. And you live at your mama house and you're 40 years old, 50 years old, ain't never had a car. You know, it can turn out to be like, bro, what's going on with your ability to accumulate basic resources for your survival in a sense? You know what I'm saying? So you can be earth deficient. You know, it's nothing more that one of my pet peeves is a broke Taurus. It don't make no sense. How is this the sign of money, but you have no money, none? Like, don't never had no money, credit, all poor, like you just, oh, okay, you live in a failure lifestyle in a sense. And it's like, wow, you know, it's almost I hate to say this, but it's a waste of energy. You know what I'm saying? Because you're not operating on the higher principle of it. And so we have these deficiencies. And I'm a big fan, and what we show over here is how to analyze where these deficiencies are and ask the question when you see it. How does this show up in your life? You're like, okay, if I lack, I know I lack earth. So when I lack earth, I wasn't happy with my own financial status. And so what I did was I put spirituality on pause, as far as main focus, and then I shifted and I had to go learn real estate, right? So now that I didn't learn real estate, and that's pretty much, I got it, and that's on autopilot, and built a 7-figure portfolio out of it. And, you know, just like I shared with you not too long ago, just yesterday, on yesterday's date was 8/8, the Lion's Gate, you know, banks giving me money, and, you know, big high limit credit cards and stuff, you know, I had to go and master that element. And this wasn't a spiritual thing. There's a spiritual component, the spiritual pillar, and then there's the physical pillar of reality, okay? So I had to go learn the skill set for me to become better with this physical, tangible thing called money, okay? So I can, on a spiritual level, I can have the plants inside of the house, but what good are the plants in the house and I don't have no money? You see what I'm saying? So, you know, that's the spiritual reminder in the spiritual balance to my physical self, but then I need the other component that's strictly physical to bring that within balance as well. So I had to go learn that. And so this is how you can see those deficiencies. When you see it within the chart, which I'm teaching the class, on which we have in our Patreon as well, you simply ask the question. Don't ever, like, and it's, you got to remember, this thing is all about maturity and mindset. A person can lack these particular planets in these signs that represent lack of money, but this person got money because their consciousness was like, money's important to me, so I know it's important to me, so I'm going to deal with it irregardless to not having planets there. So you ask the question, if this is a deficiency, have you seen this show up in your life? Air, is it a lack of communication between you and your partner? Because there's ways you can do this for the relationship as well, right? And it's like, oh yeah, we lack communication. Oh, okay, well, this is the exercise. This is what you have to challenge yourself to do so you can strengthen that deficiency. And then now here's the beautiful part about it. If water is the predominant element in a relationship, and you may say, well, how would I know that? Well, let's just say when I was born, I had all this energy in Cancer, right? The sun was in Cancer, the moon was in Cancer, Venus in Cancer, Mercury in Cancer, happened to be the time Mars was in Cancer. I got all this energy in water signs, right? When I was born. And then my partner has some energy in water too. So now when we add up all of our energies, right? When we add up all of our energies, we see that water is the predominant element. So what do that mean? We need to take baths together, showers together. We need to come out in nature and come here, babe. Let's go out in nature and let's just go put our feet in the water and let's just go to our meditative spot within this beautiful, serene thing, you know, nature, and just harmonize with each other and just appreciate each other and say thank you and I love you. And let's allow nature to bless us. We got the air, we got the earth, we got the water, and we got the fire from the sun. So we really got it all, and we're becoming complete when you come outside, right? And so this is the way that we, inside of our system, this is the way that we pretty much, I'm gonna make up my own word, alchemize, right? Or alchemize, right? This is how we use love alchemy with the elements and understanding, you know, who we are, what we're born with. And like I said, how we can transmute into each one that we desire, because it's just not fixed at one, although this is the fixed gate, okay? But again, fixed gates simply don't mean that things don't change. The only constant is change, which is an oxymoron in of itself. The only constant is change, but constant is not change. Constant has to sit still, but the only constant is everything is ever revolving and evolving, and sometimes devolving, so it can evolve again, okay? It's a beautiful cyclical nature of ascension, descension, ascension, descension. Hence, when you understand the motion of the sun in its daily orbit, you can see it. In its yearly orbit, you can see what's taking place here. We're here to, it's really kind of crazy, but it's fun. We're here to seek a state of balance in an imbalanced place. And the way that you do that is you shift energies. And this is why the internal alchemy and the Qigong work is very important, is because your energy is flowing. And when your energy is flowing, there's not a upset pole shift where it's a drastic radical shift to your being, your inner being, your personality, your life. Okay? And so, hey man, you have to be, I'm gonna say this, you have to be a true lover of nature to get this. Like, it's one thing, oh yeah, nature is deep, man, we the original. Okay, but do you really get out here and spend time out here and embrace it and truly love it? You have to love it. When you love it, it becomes you. And once it becomes you, it comes alive in you, everything else is smooth sailing. Don't mean it won't be no little things that pop up, but again, as I talked before, resilience will kick in because you done already built up a reservoir of energy. Okay, so I love to see you and work with you, give you some exercises to do when it comes to what I call cosmic love theory inside of the fixed gate and whatnot, and bringing the cosmos into love and activating it. Okay, it's very important to do. All right, so this is how we can harmonize ourselves. That's game. That's how we can harmonize ourselves in nature. All right, get with me. Peace.